Why am I hearing?
Go ahead and ask again. Are you on?
Are we on?
Uh-huh. I'm on the air. I can hear us.
That's cool. Hold on.
This is funny. The live test to see if
Okay, now they work.
Yeah, they probably got knocked off.
That was your ears.
Yeah, my ears are working good now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
They
Got
good.
your ears on there, big guy.
They're
It's Friday Eve.
Let me say that I am so happy it's Thursday, and as you just said, Friday Eve.
Yes.
I'd like you guys today, and like all y'all's, light up our phones this morning. I don't care what you want to talk about, but I'd like you to share your weekend plans with us.
Okay. All right.
We'll rate them on a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is you're doing what, and 10 is can we come along with you? 910-333-0139. Good morning. I'm not Kelly or Lee. I'm Rayford Brown.
I'm Kelly Knapp.
I'm Lee Barrows.
And welcome into the
Wait a minute. I'm Shockwave.
welcome into the Thursday edition. I thought yesterday was Thursday.
Yeah, you had me confused all day.
I was confused. Anyway, it's all good. It's all good.
One day left in the week after today.
It's the 19th, probably better known these days as Juneteenth, the day that marks one of the days when slavery in the United States was abolished. On this date in 1865, 2 months after the South surrendered to the North, ending the Civil War, General Order Number 3 was read and posted in Galveston, Texas, informing enslaved African Americans of their freedom under the Emancipation Proclamation. While the Emancipation Proclamation was actually issued in 1863, its enforcement in Texas was delayed. It was also delayed in Atlanta and pretty much everywhere else in the South. Juneteenth is also known as Freedom Day or Emancipation Day. Other notable events that happen on this date. Parents, get your stuff out there so you can teach your kids a little bit of history today after you learn more. 1905, the world's first notable Nickelodeon, that's a theater for moving pictures, opened in Pittsburgh. 1905. 1953, Julius and Ethel Rosenberg. You know about those folks?
Why do I know that name?
Well, they were both executed at the same time for espionage. In 1988, Pope John Paul II canonized 117 Vietnamese martyrs. For some reason, I don't remember that occasion whatsoever. In 1990, the Communist Party of the Russian Soviet I don't know what it is,
You're having a Lee moment.
Federative Socialist Republic was founded in Moscow. Is it Moscow or Moscow? I hear it both ways. Some people say there's no cow in Moscow, but I don't know. In 2005, a major tire failure incident occurred at the United States Grand Prix, leading to several teams withdrawing. Do you remember that? There was a major tire recall.
I've seen.
Yeah, I forgot. Some company, I think a company about went out of business.
That I remember the story on it, but I've also seen that happen with NASCAR races.
The Al-Qalani Mosque bombing in Baghdad resulted in numerous casualties on this date in 2007. Here's one for you now. I had to save the best for last. 2009, mass riots broke out in Sichu, China, following a very popular chef's death.
Can you say all that again? I'm not even going to try.
Sichu.
I'm not
China.
doing it.
A chef at a hotel died.
Okay.
And they had mass riots. He died 2 days earlier. This one slipped past my radar back in 2009. For some reason, I do not remember any part about that. Do y'all?
They had mass riots because the chef died?
Uh-huh.
What, they get cold grits or something?
The chef, 24-year-old
Wow.
Tu Yahangawa, was found, no, I won't do that one again, was found dead outside the Yonglong Hotel on the 17th of June. But his family cast some doubt on the finding of suicide after they viewed the body. They said there were no signs of blood where he was found and where he was found. And the injuries on his body were inconsistent with a fall. Locals told media that the hotel was known to be involved with drug trafficking and that it is partly owned by the mayor, with senior police and other officials having a stake in it. They believe Tu was killed for threatening to expose the hotel owner and that police intended to cremate his body to destroy the evidence. The riots lasted for several days. In the end, the ruling of suicide stood. The police said he jumped out of a window, jumped to his death.
I don't remember that happening, but I mean,
It's just an unusual story, but it is what it is, I guess.
Well, this day in history, the big, fun, lovable lasagna eating cat debuted also.
Garfield.
See,
Oh.
Kelly knows.
Garfield?
Garfield.
Oh, well,
What year?
1978. God, was it that long ago?
I thought he had been around longer than that.
I did
don't
too.
know.
because
I just
remember
felt like
in
I grew
school
up
us
with him.
Talking about little
Yeah.
Garfield.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the dude.
Yeah, he still is.
Mhm.
Everybody loves Garfield.
Mm-hmm. I wonder how many cats were named Garfield after that.
I guarantee you a lot, especially orange cats.
Oh,
I
God,
have an
yeah.
orange cat, and
But
of
his
course,
name
my
is-
granddaughter named him, and she named him.
Tiger.
Did I tell you, Kelly? I found out why he's getting so fat. It's not me. My neighbor across the street like strays.
So your neighbor thinks he's a stray?
No, he
No.
pays a visit.
The neighbor puts out food for the stray, the feral cats. So my cat got smart and said, So every day about 5:00, he goes over to the neighbor's house and eats again. And so, do I buy the neighbor a bag of food now?
No.
Oh, I
and
didn't know you let him out. I thought he stayed inside.
he loves to go outside. He stays in the yard,
Okay.
and
Except-
Obviously he don't.
except
because
for
he
meals.
across the
except for at
street
mealtime, and
eats.
he goes across the street.
That's
But
hilarious.
yeah, you couldn't keep that cat in 24/7. He'd scratch holes in the walls.
Oh.
He likes to go out, but he never goes out of the yard except for dinner time.
We used to joke with my grandmother. There were 8 kids in their family, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they had other people. Her parents, my grandmother's parents, I think, lived with them for a bit. She had an uncle and an aunt who stayed with them for a bit. At one time, that household had 14 people in it.
Oh my gosh!
So they'd have as many as 4 living there other than the family. And we used to kid with her, said, do you even know who some of these people are when they show up for dinner? Or it's just so many people, a couple extra that from the neighborhood might just show up and say,
It's
hey.
pretty cool though.
It wouldn't surprise me that they did that, but it is what it is.
Back in the day when we lived on the base over in Tarver Terrace, we used to do that. Parents used to, buy a lot of fruit to like during the season, like watermelons and stuff like that. Cut it all up. All the neighborhood kids would come over.
You know that today is also known as Red Veggie Day or Red Day?
I thought RFK did away. Oh no, that was the red dye. Okay.
Red Dye. But
Just
strawberries, watermelon,
Really?
and all that sort of good stuff is supposed to be the choice of the day for today.
that sounds wonderful.
So I've already had strawberries a couple of times.
I
so
forgot to
I'm
plant strawberries this year.
I'm going to go get
It's
me
not
a
too
watermelon
late.
today.
Yeah.
I haven't had one this
I
year.
like those seedless watermelons
so
they
they're
have
easy to
now.
deal with.
Those are good.
I saw the coolest thing on YouTube. A guy he went and shopped very carefully for 2 watermelons that looked identical in size. He comes out and he cuts one of them in 2.
Okay.
Carves out the entire middle part of it very carefully, getting all of the watermelon, the ripe part out. Then he cut and then he took the other watermelon and he carved it very carefully and took out the section. He took all the greenery off the other one. So all he had left was a tube of red, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he sanded it down with these little buffer things that you get for the sink and stuff, that little green thing that's got two sides to it. He got that thing very smooth, so there was nothing on it but red.
Oh.
And he put it inside the shell of the first one that he had carved out. He inserted this other, just the watermelon, in there. And he fitted the two pieces together very carefully. You could not tell it that it wasn't a regular whole watermelon. And then at the picnic, he carves around it very carefully. And he pulls it apart, and then he dumps out the two halves of the watermelon. And they look like they had come out of that shell just like they did. He said, "This is a magic watermelon."
See,
You wouldn't take the time to do it, would you?
No.
That's what I figured.
And no, I was just thinking, you watch videos all the time of people telling you how to cut a watermelon. They do the grid cut and all that, and then the scoop and everything comes out personally. No, I'm not. I slice it, dice it, and eat it.
That's pretty much. That's all you have to do. And my mom used to say, back working in the tobacco field, at the end of the day, they always had watermelons, and they kept them around. So at the end of the day, after they had put in the tobacco all day long, they used to break a watermelon, just smash it. They didn't worry about knife, and everybody they'd eat nothing but the heart. The rest of it went to the hogs. You know, the center part,
right?
The sweetest part. That all the stuff near the rind went to the hogs. So hogs love watermelon.
Yeah, they do. And I have some friends that have like farm animals too. So if you have a lot of vegetable, fruit scraps, whatever.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, think of the farmers and their people, because I'm gonna tell you, the animals love that.
Mm-hmm. Hanging out yesterday at the dentist's office over there in Cedar Point, taking a stroll through the internet, and I bumped into a CNN story about pot.
Oh.
You know, marijuana, reefer, or in Jamaica, ganja. Thought it might be another boring story about the benefits of marijuana gummies, or one that questions why it's still illegal in a lot of areas. And it's illegal at the federal level, regardless of where you are. I've been waiting on a movement to demand that everyone who had ever been arrested for possession of marijuana to have their sentences overturned, and to have reparations to be made for the downtrodden potheads of yesteryear. They need the money to buy more pot today. That isn't what the news story was about. The headline read, "Marijuana use dramatically increases risk of dying from heart attacks and stroke." Got my attention.
Mm-hmm.
This is on CNN. Using marijuana doubles the risk of dying from heart disease, according to a new analysis of pooled medical data involving 200 million people, obviously worldwide, mostly between the ages of 19 to 59. That's a big test audience, I'll tell you that. The study results cause concerns, especially the fact that patients hospitalized for these disorders were young, and thus not likely to have their clinical features due to tobacco smoking, and with no history of cardiovascular disease or cardiovascular risk factors. More people today are smoking pot than are smoking cigarettes. Did you know that?
No doubt. I know so many that like to do that.
For those who have engaged, or those who still engage in heavy pot smoking, studies today are confirming the fact that it is dangerous and can lead to an early death. One brain cell at a time, with a multiplier of 1,000,000, is where we are today, apparently. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't do pot. Never have done pot. I've never smoked
have either.
I don't even like smoke of any kind.
Unless it's a barbecue, huh?
They don't produce smoke, I hope, unless you got a smoker going. And that's going to be wood smoke.
Yeah, I haven't used my grill in over 2 years. I'm afraid to even turn it on.
Oh, you got a gas one, huh?
Uh-huh. I need to check it really, really good for leaks and nests.
Just hold a match around all the fittings and turn them on.
I'll come here tomorrow with no eyebrows and eyelashes.
If there happens to be fire coming out, you'll know you got a leak in it. Need to get it fixed.
Rafer to be like,
What?
What did you do to your hair? Huh, Kelly? That.
I didn't say that.
You did. She walked in and sat down looking her normal, glamorous self.
Did
you said, did you do something different to your hair?
Yeah,
she said, I brushed it.
It's like, to me, that meant, I took that as being kind of funny. I said, well, you've never brushed it before or what?
Just brushed it. That's the only thing I did this morning.
So you don't normally brush it?
No, I do. It's all, but I didn't do anything different. Brushed it.
You don't think it looks a little different, Lee?
I think it looks.
It's nothing wrong with it.
It looked the same to me when I left.
It just looks like a slightly different style or something. I don't know. Forget it.
I literally brush my hair.
See, for one time, I noticed something.
Yeah.
For one time, I noticed something about a woman.
Uh-huh. It's just because you hadn't seen me in like a week and a half.
That's what it is.
That's what it is.
You've changed it since.
I haven't done anything to it. No.
Oh. Okay.
I just, once again, brushed it. Yep.
This is going off the chart this morning, as usual.
All right, we're coming up on the weekend, so we may as well talk a little bit about the weather. High pressure is here. Can you tell?
Mm-hmm.
And along with that news, we will have oppressive heat and humidity.
I feel it.
Yeah, buddy. Key word is oppressive. A cold front, not the same meaning it has in January, I'll tell you that, will move through tonight. And as you might expect, conditions offshore are going to be challenging. You get a big change in the weather, bad things happen in the ocean, or very good things, one or the other. This one won't be good. There is a chance of strong to severe thunderstorms, and that's why there's a small craft advisory in effect. Okay, so offshore out to 20 nautical miles, winds out of the southwest 15 to 25, seas 4 to 5 feet every 5 seconds. They're kind of close together for seas that size, with a little cross current producing waves from the southeast at 8 seconds apart. So you got things mixing, coming together out there. And that will give us a washing machine bit of turbulence. Sounds and rivers will be choppy. Friday won't be as bad. Southwesterly winds 10 to 15 knots, seas 3 to 5 every 6 seconds. Sounds and rivers a moderate chop. A chance of showers with a slight chance of thunderstorms in the morning. You'll not have good visibility, though, at sea level. The ocean and the sky will likely look the same. High humidity kind of does that. Saturday, this is likely to be a good day. Check back on Friday morning for final look, but easterly winds are now predicted for Saturday, 5 to 10 knots, seas 2 to 3 feet every 5 seconds. Sounds and rivers a light chop.
Today, sunny, high of 93, with a heat index value today of 102. The winds will be from the southwest, 8 to 14 miles an hour, with 21 mile an hour gusts. So if you're going to be outside, please drink water. Try not to be outside if you can help. It's hot and it's super humid. Tonight, showers and thunderstorms overnight. Otherwise, partly cloudy, low of 72. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, high of 89. Tomorrow night, mostly clear, low of 69. And on Saturday, sunny, high of 92.
Yeah.
Calm winds.
We also have a beach advisory out today for rip currents.
Mm.
So be cautious.
And sharks.
Oh, yeah, let me tell my friends.
Always possibility, right?
Right. Yeah, they were giving out the advisory this morning.
Well, the war is still going on. It's not
terrible.
a confrontation. It's not a verbal display of disgust. It's an all-out war, as far as I'm concerned. When you start shooting missiles by the hundreds at another country, that's a war. And their latest attack from Iran has hit a hospital in Israel.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, now they are.
That's going to tip the scales right there.
The word is they're unless Iran can come out and prove it was not intentional, and sometimes the missiles come down in the wrong place, then they're already being accused of targeting civilians, and that's going to lead to some bad stuff. This reporter correspondent for Fox News, name is Trey Yingst, was outside the hospital on Thursday after he was hit by Iran in a major missile attack. He reported that the hospital was still burning at that time, just a couple of hours ago. It's located in the city of Be'er Sheva in southern Israel. The hospital suffered a direct hit from Iranian ballistic missiles. At least 65 people were hurt during the missile barrage that began Thursday morning. Wow. Iran is saying its foreign minister is going to meet with some European folks in Geneva. Presumably, they are going to try to work out some sort of a ceasefire agreement, and let's bring an end to this mess. I don't know. The United States, it doesn't mention it being involved in this one, so that might be a good thing at this point in time.
Yeah, it's pretty creepy sitting there watching, because I'm watching live cameras from different areas in Israel, and when those alarms, the sirens go off, and then you see the missiles, and then the action that Israel's taken to counteract the missile. It's really.
Y'all remember watching during the Gulf Wars? Any of the live stuff as it was happening?
No, because it wasn't like back then what you can see now. You have so many YouTube channels and so many YouTubers.
Yeah, well, they had CNN, and CNN was all over it. And
yeah, so usually they were,
but I was watching it, and then I'm going back into the 1960s when we had the Vietnam stuff. We did not have satellites up there that would allow that. I mean, there were communication satellites, but not a lot of video type stuff and nothing like that, and the networks didn't have access to them.
Right.
And you know how they got the footage that we saw in Vietnam on the nightly news? First of all, it was 3 to 4 days old. From the front lines in Vietnam, it was sent back to major locations in Vietnam where military helicopters and planes were flying in and out on a daily basis. But it might take at least a day to take your raw footage, film that had not been processed, and get it back to a location where it was going to be picked up and then relayed back to the United States with the flights that were going. So 3 to 4 days after that footage was shot was the earliest that we would ever see any action from the front lines on the nightly news. 3 to 4 days.
Wow.
Oh.
Wow. Well, it's just like saying now anything. And if you wonder why I'm always like, guess what just happened here or there? Because there's constantly somebody out on the scene and they're running it a live feed.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, I see all this stuff as it's happening. That's how I know. But man, it's just. But watching the bombing last night, well, watched it for the last week, but it's really eerie when you hear the alarms go off, and then here comes incoming missiles.
And Israel has hit Iran's heavy water reactor. Now, heavy water is one of the components that they use to make the big old boom booms, or to enrich their uranium, as they call it. First thing they got to have is enriched uranium before they can make something that goes boom boom. According to what I'm reading that we're putting out, they don't need enriched uranium to produce electricity for peaceful purposes. They only need enriched uranium when they intend to make explosive devices, weapons of war. So that's been a clue as to how Israel, and we know our intel of organizations know pretty much what's going on. They're sitting there keeping records of it. They're watching what they do. There, we got people on the ground there. Of course, we have our satellites. People on the ground give you a really up close and personal look at what's happening. And then a lot of their intel is gathered in friendly pubs, where people gather at nighttime. The workers from inside, they all get together and they all shoot the breeze. It's a good thing that Ireland doesn't have any secrets. They wouldn't be kept very long, would they? The evening pub business, nah.
It would depend.
Yeah. So, let's see what else is happening.
I was showing Kelly earlier because I followed this SpaceX
I
program.
love SpaceX.
And
Blow up again.
yesterday they were testing. Well, it's static tests that they keep doing, and so yesterday they didn't even get this one off the launch pad. And when they were filling it with fuel, was loading into it, they had a strange anomaly. They said, and I'm just like going,
static electricity.
yeah, and it just I'm watching it. And, we're getting to the countdown. I think there was like less than 2 minutes left. And all of a sudden, boom, it just blew right up. And, it just threw me back on the couch. I was like checking to make sure I wasn't burnt or something. But yeah, another failure yesterday. And they're testing this because this is the Starship that they are planning to crew and to man eventually to send up in space like to Mars. But they're having a lot of issues with this one. I'm like,
we remember all the crash dummies that they use in testing car crashes?
Rescue Randy's.
No, yeah. Test dummies. Now we're going to look for some space dummies for this flight, right?
Right. I'm going to tell you
I'll
what.
go to the prisons and see if there are any volunteers.
Well, SpaceX every day launches rockets into space with satellites. And
it's going to get kind of crowded up there.
You would think so, but it must be a big space up there. But this is the Starship that they want to eventually man with a crew. And they've been doing a lot of tests. I'm like,
I will not be aboard it. I will tell you right now.
They get up there in the sky and blow up. But this one never made it off the launch pad. It just blew up.
Yeah.
I've already issued it, an all points bulletin.
Oh, no.
Be on the lookout for what the cops call a bolo.
Yes.
I want to know what happened to Lady Justice. Where is she? Has she been replaced by judicial injustice? Well, one mom in Michigan thinks so.
Wow.
Back in 2023, then 16-year-old Kiernan Tague, did you get the age? 16, driving a car at about 100 miles an hour. The speed limit where he was 25, so you can figure out where he was. It was not on an open road nor an interstate highway. He had a passenger sitting in the front seat with him, 18-year-old Flynn McCrell. The teenage punk lost control of the speeding car and crashed into a utility pole. When police and rescue personnel arrived on the scene, both boys were still in their seat belts in the front seat. The passenger, Mr. McCrell, was dead.
Wow.
Tague, the driver, was slumped forward, alive, very well alive. He was initially charged with second-degree murder, but later pleaded guilty to manslaughter with a motor vehicle with an adult designation. That was in February of this year. Several months later, last week, a Michigan judge sentenced the killer to serve probation at a level 2 placement facility. Well, I'm not from Michigan. I don't think I've ever been through Michigan. I don't know what a level 2 placement facility is. Wonder what kind of probation you would serve at a probation. Probation. You're told to go to this facility and you're going to serve probation there. Probation generally means you're not confined, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long? And does it say, will he be there, if at all? Does anyone know, does it mean he has to show up for just every now and then to see if what he's done has had any effect on his lifestyle. I don't feel sorry for him. I guess I'm a bad person. County prosecutor Kim Worthy argued in the trial, the sentencing session, the evidence in this case shows that the defendant was driving in a residential neighborhood at speeds that rival speeding on Michigan freeways. Sadly, Mr. McCrell lost his life as a result. We know that the rules of the road exist for a reason. Speed kills. Driving 25 in a residential neighborhood is mandated. It's not a mere suggestion. 9 o'clock at night on a residential street in a Michigan town, a 16-year-old boy, so therefore you would assume that he doesn't have a whole lot of driving experience. 100 miles per hour he's driving his car, loses control, hits a utility pole, and kills 18-year-old passenger in the blink of an eye. He's ordered to spend some probationary time in some sort of placement facility, no doubt the dream of liberal lunatics. Parents of teens who are coming of age to drive, of teens who have recently got their licenses, why would you consider even allowing your teenager, brand new driver, to drive your car at nighttime, anytime for that matter, with another teen in the car? In fact, I thought it was illegal in North Carolina until you come of age, until you become 18.
No, I think
With another person in the car.
you can have, when you get your license at 16, or when you get it as a kid, after they do their driver learner's permit hours, they have to do 60 hours. I know that because I have a kid client that's currently in that. They can drive. There's a number and there's a time limit, I think. After a certain time, let's say I'm picking 9 o'clock at night because I don't know. And I think they can have 1 or 2 passengers. Can't put a carload.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here's what I would propose.
Okay.
If they're to drive at all without you in the car, at least for the first 2 years, and you're going to be driving my car, these days, I would install a camera shooting inside the car that covers the entire interior of the car, one that has audio, one that is totally tamper-proof, with an interlock that shuts the car off if any attempts are made to disable the camera. While you're at it, invest in a GPS tracking device that in real time, it records the location, but in real time, it records the speed of the vehicle and transmit that information to you for viewing anytime you want. They've had those for years. I used to have one on all of the company vehicles. I wanted to know where they were, how long they were there. In case they got lost, did not know where they were, I could tell them. If this sounds too invasive, why don't you talk with a mother who lost her 18-year-old son to a 16-year-old boy who now gets to grow up while her son's remains rest in a cold, dark, and damp grave. If this was the only case that I read about that's anything like this, I might not think so harshly. For those parents who have secretly installed cameras, you can't imagine the reactions I've seen them have when they saw the antics, the distractions inside the car their kid was driving, a kid they said they thought was bright and responsible. You'll never know until you include safeguards. When they're 18, if they're of age, please turn them loose. Tell the little smart alecks that they think they know who they are. Go ahead and tell them to get out, get a job, while they still know it all. When they grow up, and every year that goes by, the year they grow up is making them older than they would have been 20 to 30 years ago. Times have changed, and not always for the better. Today's kids at age 18 are not the same kids at 18, 20, 30 years ago.
I made that statement the other day.
Did you?
Agreed.
Well,
Yes.
you're right.
Yeah.
And once you get even older than you are, then you will even see it more so.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, kids of 15 were much more responsible
Yes.
in decades ago.
Oh, absolutely.
Much more responsible. They had
Yeah.
responsibilities. They had chores.
Yeah.
They had to be at a certain place at a certain time, mom and daddy. And if they weren't, when they grounded you, it was not just, well, no, can we talk about it? Yeah. When you're not grounded anymore.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about that last week about how to respect, how kids growing up these days they're not taught, they don't have the same type of respect and understanding as we did as kids growing up.
And it's not just looking back at even later on when I was an adult, a young adult, admittedly, but when I became an adult, I looked at the kids of that era, even then, and they were much more responsible than the kids are today. I had one. And those kids, when they got to be 15, 16, my God, you could count on, if you told them to do something, maybe it was the parenting, I don't know. But when you told them to do something, they did something. Neighborhood kids had respect for you, for the parents, other people's parents. Right? That just doesn't happen today, does it?
No.
All right, maybe it does. I'm sure there are some great examples of really great kids out there and parents who will disagree with me that their kid is good. And here's why. And I will have to agree. I'm sure there are. I've met some. We got a guy that I know. You guys may have met him too. He's now a deputy sheriff. He's been over here a lot with his two kids. And he was over here last week. I was been over here 2 weekends, helping me with antennas on the roof up here, putting them up. And he had one of his kids, a very young teenage girl with him, and she was helping him. And you know what? He said that she told him when they went out back to get some stuff out of the shop, she said, can I come over there and help Miss Robbie clean that place? She said, it needs cleaning.
Wow.
The shop.
Oh, the shop.
The shop.
She's going to come clean the shop?
My friend's teenage daughter volunteered to do it. She just walked in there and said, I'd like to come over there and help her.
Well, Robbie would like that, first of all, but yay. That don't happen a lot. I'm here to tell you. It doesn't happen a lot.
No.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but there are people with great kids.
Mm-hmm.
And when they step up to the plate like that, and some of Allison's friends in the past, they've come over to volunteer to do stuff around here, and we've hired a couple of them to do some work here and there. Unfortunately, they got older now, so they got real jobs. So I just need a couple more. I think I may have 2 now. So I can't let them use the big saw to cut wood with, but I can cut it and make it screw it down. That's not a problem.
Sure.
And they'll make money at it. And they'll get paid for it. I'm not a cheapskate when it comes to that.
Absolutely.
I'd rather my money go to those people who are working for it in this country, like little kids, especially young people, than to our government to steal it and give it to people that do not deserve it. Okay.
Well, I got something for you.
Good. I'm tired of talking.
Well, we're just waiting for you to finish the sentence so we can jump right in.
We'll jump right in.
Because you just,
Okay.
you're so full of
killing time. I'm going to keep talking.
Okay. Anyway, so the big flag controversy has stepped up a bit in North Carolina here. Greenville was trying to make Camping World take down their huge flag, and there was a big controversy over it. And now they're fining Camping World, and Camping World's refusing to pay the fine. And they've closed one of their stores in Greenville. Camping World has, but now state lawmakers are considering a bill that could impact the display of the large American flags on private property. North Carolina House Bill 926, also known as the Regulatory Reform Act of 2025 has been revised to include provisions that would limit a city's authority to regulate flag displays. I'm like, it's okay. Here we go. Section
That could be a
17.
little bit of an issue, but
Section 17A of the bill states, no city shall adopt or enforce an ordinance that prohibits or restricts or has the effect of prohibiting or restricting a property owner from displaying a flag of the United States or the state of North Carolina, including prohibiting or restricting the size of the flag or the height of any associated flagpole on the property owner's property.
there are already some rules that go beyond the scope of North Carolina or any city.
I looked that up.
The maximum heights, for instance, of some towers and stuff like that, that's impacted by your location, your proximity to airports, military installations, all sorts of stuff. That's federal. So, in other words, ham radio guys can't put up a 500-foot tower in their backyard. Yeah, I'm sorry, they just can't do it. Don't want to, can't afford it. But and there are so many rules dealing when broadcast stations put up antennas, towers.
Right.
So
right.
Well, there are a lot of restrictions there.
You know, the current general statute in North Carolina says that of a size no greater than 4 feet by 6 feet. So, and I looked to see.
That's kind of a home flag.
They were talking about on private property, but it didn't really go into a lot of specifications in the general statute as what is playing out here in Pitt County.
Now,
but
how will that impact HOAs who are not municipalities unto themselves? Will they still be able to prohibit or restrict sizes or even having a flag on your property?
My advice is don't live anywhere where there's an HOA.
I would never live in an HOA.
We
I
understand
live in a
that.
tree house.
Yeah, we understand that part, but there are some places in North Carolina you won't be able to live except in the dumps if you don't live in an HOA.
That's true. That's true. And if an HOA forbids you from flying an American flag and you're dumb enough to sign on with the HOA and move in there, well, but that brings up a good point. Does an HOA have the right to tell you you cannot fly a United States flag?
It's not mentioned there in that ordinance, that law. North Carolina
Well,
law.
now this is just a summary of the law for what I'm telling you right now.
Because we know they're restricted in a lot of places. We've seen that. We've seen veterans.
Yes.
I mean, actually, pretty much in tears when the HOA somebody showed up when they moved in and they couldn't put their flag up.
I wonder if there's you know what? If it was me and I know Kelly too, we'd find a way around it.
Can an HOA stop you from painting your house pink and yellow and green?
Not even HOAs even will tell you what kind of mailbox you have to get.
Yes, they will. And they will pick one that is only available at a certain location, or you can buy it
like
through
my
us.
friend had to go down to Wilmington.
Yeah.
On Shipyard Boulevard to get there. What an outrage.
Yeah.
When you can go to Lowe's and buy one for like $30. Yeah. I would never live in an HOA ever. No amount of money.
No.
I'd live in a tree house. Get me a little tiny house and put it somewhere.
The
to do
squirrels
something.
would be in charge.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's
As
fine.
they are now.
I can find a squirrel.
My daughter, when they lived in Texas, they bought
The little rice are good.
Yeah.
They bought their very first RV, which was an old like Plymouth RV, and
Plymouth RV.
It was some kind of Plymouth Dot. I don't know what it was. It looked like a little bullet to me. It was. Rayford, I can't tell you exactly. I can.
Well, I'm
find
curious
out.
now.
I'll ask him, but this was old. It was like a 70s, and they fixed it up so nice. But the HOA didn't like the appearance of it sitting in their driveway, and they had to put it in the backyard. I'm like,
you
really?
know where landfall? I always call it what we used to call it their landfill, because they had to put a lot. They had to put a lot of dirt in there to get it up when they were building it. But landfall, right there, Riceville Beach, Wilmington area, you if you've got a pickup truck, they don't want you putting that in it has to be in a garage. If you got, I don't care what kind of a fancy pickup truck you got, it's a pickup truck. They had a big rule there. You couldn't have one on the street or even in your driveway. It had to be in the garage. Whoops. I think that got changed. I believe there was a court battle over that one, or at least a threat of a court battle over that one.
Well, I'm going to have to call Jimmy Dixon, Representative Jimmy Dixon. I love him. Kelly knows him too. He represents Duplin and Wayne. He used to represent part of Onslow County, but he's a huge sponsor in this bill. I'll see if he'll call in one day. That would be cool. Yeah, but yeah, so the war continues.
Price of shrimp's going to go up, right?
Oh, Shrimp Gate is next.
You got that one ready?
Yes, it's
Okay.
if my computer will
Good luck.
pay attention and catch up here. I know everything's really slow this morning on my laptop. Traveling trawlers Traveling trawlers wouldn't be allowed to net shrimp in North Carolina's inland waters or within 1/2 mile of the coast under a proposal passed by the North Carolina Senate on Wednesday. Critics say the measure, if approved, would destroy the state's shrimping industry.
That means no more river shrimp. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, the bill was intended to create a short fishing season for flounder and red snapper for the next 4 years. This is also, but now there's a big debate over Shrimp Gate. That's what the lawmakers are calling it.
So there's an issue here, and I don't know what my opinion would be because it's kind of confusing. There are guys with little boats as small as my little tiny boat, 17-footer,
Right.
that have shrimp trawls on them. They have made them. They put them on there, and they go in the river. They can't go in the ocean. The boats won't do that. But when the big shrimp are in the rivers, they come in the rivers, and the shrimp. States Ferry is full of them, and up the New River for a bit. They have to stop at a certain point, and I forgot where it is. But they out there trawling for shrimp. Now, shrimp are bottom feeders. They hang around the bottom. Well, that's where these trawlers their nets have to go, right? That basically kind of drag along the bottom,
Right.
close to the bottom or at the bottom. And the thing is, you know where flounder hang out?
On the bottom?
They lay down on the bottom.
Yes, they do. In the sand.
And there's a byproduct, a bycatch that happens when you've got shrimp trawlers out there, and it's called flounders. And by the time you drag a trawl and you start catching shrimp, and you catch shrimp, and you may make a pull, it could be an hour if the shrimp are few and far between. If that trawl your net gets loaded, your bag there gets loaded up with shrimp, you can tell it because your boat slows way down, because these boats are not running at breakneck speed. But it will drag it down to a lower speed because you got a heavy load on the back, right?
Right.
So when it does that, they pull it in. But if it doesn't do that, they just drag and they drag and they drag and they drag. They might not be catching any shrimp, but they may be picking up some flounder, and they may be picking up some baby flounder, undersized flounder. They can keep flounder of a certain size if they're in season.
Yeah, the whole flounder fishing regulations and restrictions.
The whole thing is messed up.
Well,
and they're doing what they can to try to bring back the flounder here in North Carolina.
Yeah.
Because the sizes of flounder have really gotten much smaller. When people are, you can keep, I don't know, whatever it is these days. I'm not a flounder fisherman, so I don't know what the rules are. 13, 14 inch, maybe 15 inch in some areas. That's the smallest flounder you can keep. But those are small fish.
yeah,
That's a small flounder.
we used to go out and gig flounders all the time. It was a lot of fun, and I love eating flounder.
We're diving up there at Cape Lookout because we go up there, and we go up there a lot, but we go up there to stick flounders, diving on the jetty there at Cape Lookout because they were all over the place. Now, we, as flounder giggers, if you want to call it that, up close and personal with the fish, We know how big a flounder is underwater.
Yes, you can see
First
him
of all,
laying there in the sand.
he looks a lot bigger than he
Yes,
actually is. About
feels a lot bigger.
25,
Trying to bring it
30%
up, right.
increase in size. They look, but we got to know how big they are. You can judge
Right.
them. And when you do that, we don't want the little flounder anyway.
Well, going back to this, there's two sides. Okay, proponents said the measure puts North Carolina in line with trawling restrictions in Virginia and South Carolina and is needed to protect the 2.2 million acres of the Albemarle Pamlico estuary, the second largest in the United States. The ban, they said, would allow other fish populations to thrive, which is a potential boon for recreational fishermen. The fishermen said that the trawling ban move could put many in the industry out of business as they are unable to move to offshore shrimping.
Correct.
So a lot of these, they don't have the size of the boats.
It takes a big boat to
Yes,
go
to
offshore.
go way out there in drops. But the value of commercial shrimp caught in North Carolina in 2023 was more than $14 million. Wow, that number was
Now,
over 24.5 in
Here's the
2000.
other thing. Should we require a certain percentage of all shrimp caught in North Carolina to stay in North Carolina, to be sold in North Carolina?
Price of shrimp's going up.
Price of shrimp.
Look, the Senate
It's
voted
ridiculous
yesterday 41-4 to pass the bill. The only votes, the 4 no votes, were from Republicans representing the coastal counties. And I saw Congressman Murphy this morning, and I said, it says Amy Davis. We saw a congressman. I saw the congressman this morning on TV, and he was voting no against this. He doesn't want it. So
Yeah, I got mixed feelings, of course. Trying to think rationally what's the best thing to do for the people of North Carolina. And of
Right.
course, for all the people is to save our industry. There have to be controls. I don't like to call them restrictions. There have to be controls on some of the stuff that's done in our environment.
between Flaggate and Shrimpgate,
Oh, here we go. Good morning. Who's this?
Mike,
Hey, Mike. What's
Hey,
going
Mike.
on?
not much. Hey, the problem with your flounder is North Carolina has the stupidest laws when it comes to the fishing regulations. They allow trawlers to come inside the waterways.
Yep.
I've digged flounder my entire life. I'm 50 now, and well, I haven't been digging, of course, for the past 5 years or more.
yeah.
But anyway, I used to gig in, I'm not going to tell you where,
In the
but
water.
here locally in Onslow County. I don't want to give my spots up because if they ever do give it back, I'm going to get back into it. But anyway, I've been in creeks and have seen small trawlers come up in there and absolutely just ruin the night. They kill everything. I mean, there's thousands of croakers floating.
Yep.
You look at South Carolina and Virginia, they're allowed to get flounder. They have a much better understanding of the fish and of the biology of the fish. I don't know who in North Carolina makes these regulations, but they are not fishermen. They know absolutely nothing about the biology of the fish. Fishermen have been hollering, recreational fishermen especially have been hollering for years and years to just make it a game fish. Same thing with speckled trout, same thing with drum. Make them a game fish like bass. Allow 5 per person per day. You're not going to fish the ocean out with a hook and line or a gig. So I don't know if there's even any representatives you can go to about this because they don't make the rules. It's the DMF that makes all the rules.
Yep.
I don't understand how that works. Like, how does it'd be like Jacksonville Police Department making laws?
Oh God.
It's no different.
That would be
I
scary.
would when I was with Jacksonville Police Department, that would have been fun.
That would make me scared.
I mean, yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And there is so much controversy on the recreational side. Now I know a little bit about the commercial side too, because I'm not going to go out there and catch a bunch of shrimp. I don't know how to. Okay, there's I'm not going to be out there catching red snapper because I don't know how. There's an art to catching different species, as you know. I have to depend upon somebody else because I do like shrimp and I do like red snapper. Oh, yeah. So
right.
I'm going to buy it from places that sell it, and I get it from commercial guys. So, but that has to be regulated. It has to be controlled. What's bothersome, and as far as the commercial side is, the primary enforcers of this are marine fisheries, which the rules are made by the Division of Marine Fisheries, and they have a Marine Fisheries Enforcement Division, right? You know that.
To my understanding, the people that are on these committees, they are in the commercial business, and they are with the DMF also. So there's a big conflict of interest that goes on with, like, to be honest, the federal government needs to come down to North Carolina and step in, because the citizens are being robbed of their resource. I know guys that are out there, if they get flounder, they take them.
Yep.
They're not out there, raping the river. But if they get a nice flounder, they take it home, because it's ridiculous. I mean, and it's getting to that point to where, I mean, I'm just about ready to sell my boats. And I wish all recreational fishermen would boycott the fishing license for like 1 year.
Oh, boy.
And just not buy it. Just go have recreational time with your family on the boat for 1 year. Don't buy any fishing equipment. Don't buy any fishing licenses or nothing. And then see how North Carolina likes it.
Wow.
They won't.
There'd be a lot of lost revenue,
But,
that's for sure.
I want to give you a little pointer if they ever do give us flounder back. When you're out there jigging them, I got a foolproof method where you will not get one under 15 inches. So when the flounder hits a certain stage of his life, his or her life, he will develop a crease down the center of his back, just like a human being that has a sculpted back. They have that muscular crease going down their back.
Uh-huh.
The flounder develops that also. If he's rounded over, he's under 15 inches. If he has that crease, he's 15 and above. It's foolproof.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and
anybody listening?
And then we got the northern, the southern flounder, and we got two different types: summer flounders and the southern flounder here in North Carolina.
It works for all of them.
Yeah, I understand, but a lot of people just don't like. Sometimes especially if you're around the Morehead City area, you got a combination of both there, and they show up.
I'll tell you another thing: anything over 20 inches is a breeding female.
Uh-huh.
Pretty good chance of it being a breeding female if it's over 20 inches.
What do you think of that 10-pound, 13-ounce one that I stuck?
Hey,
10 pounds.
I've stuck them, Rayford. So I had one that was a yardstick one night.
Yep.
Literally swim off with me on his back trying to drive the gig through, and I could not get it in. And
oh, wow. Well, I was underwater.
I know the feeling.
I was underwater, and that's the way I used to catch flounders. I've only gigged a few from a boat in my entire life, and that was just because I went out with my granddad from time to time. But I diving, I just get up there where they are, look at them. I can tell how big they are without a problem. And I don't. Do you think I ever brought home a 15-inch one? I didn't like 15-inch ones. It takes longer to clean a 15-inch one than it takes to clean a big one. So exactly. Big ones to me.
My target's around between 17 to 20 inches. Yeah. That's about what I like.
And
those are good eating size.
Yeah. What I did was I was always shopping for my mom for a big flounder or two, and something approaching 5 pounds or in the 5 pound range. So we'd always do that because she would bake them. You don't bake a little flounder. You fry those little suckers. But that's what she did.
An 8 pound flounder fries up just as good as a 2-pound flounder.
You got to have a bigger pan.
You know, I just knew Mike would be
It's not
calling in about this.
You
Yeah.
hungry?
But
I'm hungry now. I wish I had a nice
Flounder.
baked flounder with a baked potato and some lemon wedges and
Wait
butter.
till you get one on a Blackstone when I do with the onions and peppers all over it. Ooh.
Mike, go out and catch us some.
You
Wait
better
for
not,
the
don't do that, Mike. Not right now.
to me, it is a sin to not deep fry a flounder.
Oh yeah,
I understand
yeah.
that. That's
I like
the way,
them like
that's the way
that
you
too.
do it. But
Breaded and deep
I like baked trout and
fried.
grilled. I mean, I don't think drum are all that good anyway, but
they're not.
they're okay if I gotta have them. But
Well, I
I'd
got
much
the
rather have
recipe
some
for
fried
drum.
flounder.
I got the recipe for drum, but it involves something called a fish stew, and I can make it. That'll turn your
I can
eyeballs
eat
inside
it.
out. They're good. It's good, really good. So, but that's the only thing I do with a drum.
Well, I just figured I'd call in and give y'all my 2 cents.
We appreciate
very glad you
it.
did.
We do like the insight,
Oh yes.
So brings back
Y'all
a
have a
lot
good
of
one.
brings
All
back
right,
a
you
lot of
too.
memories for me. I'm gonna pull up that picture of that somewhere here. I think I've got it online now on my computer. One of them.
How big? Did you really catch one? That what?
I didn't
Bite
catch them.
me.
I stuck them with a spear. I don't have a picture of that one, believe it or not.
Ant bites I got.
She's got some
I
kind of-
never got a picture of that one, but I do have a picture. As I wasn't in the
Something is itching
big
me.
business of shooting pictures of everything I did in those days.
Yeah.
But my dad, he brought out the little brownie thing in here one day when we came back, and he grabbed a piece of 4x8 sheet of plywood that he had, always had wood around here, leaned it up against the boat, and he drove a bunch of nails in it, and he hung the flounders that we had. It covered. Now these flounders are like this. They're 2-footers, 22 to 30 inches was kind of what we would go for. But he covered the entire 4x8 sheet piece of plywood with fish hanging on it. And then on the ground there, you will see a little, I think it was a poncho liner, but whatever it was, there are fish still laying all over that. That was our catch for the day for the 2 of us. Now the catch means we stuck them diving.
Oh, okay.
Well, Kelly's got a PSA for us.
Yeah. Today, corner of Gum Branch and Western, Jacksonville Police Department wanted to let the public know there's a controlled burn, so it'll be smoky.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Right. My neck of the
It's
woods.
over by her
Yeah.
home, her homestead,
And
Branch.
I've got to work outside
Yeah,
today.
Gum Branch and Western.
Western.
right there at the. Yeah, that's not a
There's
good.
a mask over there
Go ahead and take that with you.
I'm not
and some
wearing
tape
a
you can
mask.
put around your
I'm
face
not
too.
wearing.
Yeah.
I've got one more thing real quick, and then I'm going to turn it over to Kelly because I know she's got some stories.
Good.
This is more bills being introduced into the General Assembly, North Carolina. It's a pair of patriotic bills. It's Chris Miller's
Miller
Miller
time.
time. I'm going to hold my story. Go ahead.
Miller time.
It is 8:00 and it is Papa Top time.
It's Miller time.
It's Miller time. Hey, Chris.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, good morning, my friends. How's everybody doing this morning?
We're here.
We're here. We're full of flounders and stuff.
Full of fun. Yeah, really. Those conversations made me in the mood for some seafood.
I'm always in the mood for some seafood. I had, courtesy of Father's Day and my baby doll, my oldest daughter, who brought me a big old hunk of tuna,
Ooh.
which I hit the Blackstone with that last night. And then the night before, I did a couple of little lobster tails on skewers. Ah.
Yeah, we're ready for you're going to take us all out for seafood. I think we're done with spaghetti for a while.
Hey, yeah, there you go.
Right, Lee?
Yeah, the spaghetti's sticking to whatever, right?
We got talking about spaghetti squash yesterday.
Yeah, I like that too. But I know what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about.
You miss.
I really enjoy our inside jokes. Aren't they great?
Yeah.
Chris.
Yeah. Whether some people will say, I think I know what they're talking about, and that's really not nice. Well, prove it.
Well, did you hear Rayford talking about you yesterday after you called in? He says, I just love it when he
Oh,
calls in.
yeah, all the time.
Just just had to offer my 2 cents worth. That's probably what it is. Just 2 cents worth.
Well, you better get it while you can,
Well,
because
pennies can make a dollar.
no, he won't have any pennies to make a dollar with soon.
I know soon. So I see.
So I hope everybody's doing good. And I checked out the Ospreys yesterday. They had a 12:30 matinee yesterday, and they
Heat of the
and the
day.
reason why they did that was because they brought in various different summer day camps. So a bunch of kids came, and
Nice.
they were able to feed the kids in the different little youth groups and everything. So and the youth group stayed for a few innings, and because of the heat and everything. But it was a good victory by the Ospreys. They defeated the Sandhills Bogies 4-2, and
Yay.
the Ospreys are now 10-1 on the season.
Wow.
Yeah, I was just
nice.
going to ask you if it was still
Heck
at
of a-
10-1.
That's a heck of a score for this time
That
of year.
is.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean,
Love it.
they're doing so good.
They put
Yeah,
together
they're
a
doing
team.
really well, and the guys were quite motivated. I won't go into specifics, but they were quite motivated, and they definitely wanted to beat this team from Sandhills, which is out in Southern Pines area.
Yeah.
So that's why they call them the
Sandhill
Bogies, because
Bogies, yes.
Sand spurs.
because of the golf
This-
reference, but connection. But the guys were really pumped up for a 12:30 game, and they came out there and took care of business. So it really is a fun group, and we keep on reminding the folks, especially with families, come out and support the Ospreys. And it's great baseball, but it's also something for the kids to do and something for the kids to look up to. They the young kids look up to these ball players, and the ball players
Oh, absolutely.
do a great job of. And look, they get frustrated during the games, and they dugout talk is dugout talk, and locker room, and that's,
Keep it in the dugout.
that's
Keep it in the locker room.
yes, keep it in the dugout, keep it in the dugout in the locker room. It's more so they, I can't believe I got this call, whatever, but nothing's ever crossed the line. But these young men do a great job of interacting with the young players, with the youth and the kids, and that's what it's all about. I think it's a great relationship between the community and the ball team, and everybody supports each other, and I think that's why this thing is working.
Maybe we should make a sign for Ellie and company, and with the sign should say something like, "Trash talking and foul language and your frustrations shall stay in the dugout." And put it in the dugout.
No, I want to see it go on the field. I mean, I want
No.
to see the fight.
No.
Oh,
These
yeah.
people got bats and balls. Those are not good.
That's what makes it fun.
Yeah.
She goes.
Well, let's
she
just
goes.
hope that.
She likes NASCAR because of the wrecks too.
Oh, yeah.
I see. I told you.
Well, when you go to a minor league game or a major league game, and sometimes they have different promotions, and let's just say there's a reason why a lot of these teams got rid of that night.
And we're talking about the wood bats.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
So, but like I said, it's a great atmosphere, and like I said, these young men do a great job of just spending time with the young kid just for a few minutes. Hey, how are you doing? Shaking their hand, talking to them, throwing the balls with the baseballs with them before a game. I mean, that it may not seem like a lot, but if you're a 10-year-old baseball player and you're striving to get better and become a college player, I mean and that's going to give you something to kind of work for. So it's like I said, I think these guys do a great job.
Memory of a lifetime. Yep.
Right. Gosh. Yeah, I'm going to the game Saturday, so hopefully it doesn't get rained out.
Well, they got a doubleheader. They had on Friday against not Sandhills, but I think one of the other league opponents. And the first game is at 6, and then the next game will follow about 20 minutes afterwards. So they're only going to play 7 innings in both games, but they need to make up this game since it's a conference game. So they'll play. You pay one price and you get the
Two
ball
games.
games.
That's pretty cool.
That's a good deal.
So,
That's tomorrow, right?
but yeah, it'll be neat, and then they'll be back at home on Saturday.
Yep. Yeah.
All right, what else is cooking?
And then we do have the East Coast basketball camp. People call it a tournament, but it's more of a team camp. Several different high school basketball teams, boys basketball teams are all going to come together at the Jacksonville Commons area today, tomorrow, and this weekend. And, White Oak High School, Jacksonville High School, Northside, Swansville, Southwest, of various different schools, and schools from across the state. Just Farmville Central and schools like Kinston are going to be coming as well. So this is always a pretty big event, and especially in the summertime, and for big basketball fans. So the games will start at 3:00 today.
Nice. So tell us about Camry Watkins with Richlands.
Oh yeah, I at the end of each season, football, baseball, basketball, I run like what I call an all area team. So it basically highlights the best best area players by position. So for football, for example, I'll have one quarterback, I'll have two running backs, and so on and so forth. So I do the same thing for like girls soccer and softball and baseball. And Miss Watkins was my area player of the year. She's a young lady from Richlands High School, had a great season, and so I did a feature on her, and got some. I had some photography help with one of my friends, and he got some great photos of all the athletes who were player of the year. So and this is something that the parents and coaches and players really enjoy. Sometimes they take, sometimes they get mad about it because how come I'm not on the all area team, and how come my kid? But that comes with the territory. But they really enjoy these things, and the kids like seeing their names with kids from other schools as well. So it kind of makes it special, and being an area player of the year is also a good accomplishment. So she was my area player of the year for girls soccer, and I just posted the softball one, and we'll do the baseball tomorrow.
Well, thank you for doing that.
Yes.
I mean, it's such a great thing to do for our young athletes to be recognized like that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. And I did girls and boys lacrosse earlier this week, and you don't have as many schools that have lacrosse. It's still nice to recognize them. And then, like I said, did soccer, and then so softball and then baseball. So it's pretty neat. And like I said, I think that the fans and the coaches, players really enjoy it. Every now and then, and one of those happened just earlier this week. Every now and then, you get somebody that maybe get a little too excited about it and wants to say a few things. But like I said, it comes with the territory.
All right, so
Great job.
When can you take a morning? School's out now, so you don't have to worry about running the little kiddies to school, right? You need to come and spend a morning over here with us.
We're going to make sure all your favorite callers call in.
Yeah.
And the problem is you can't turn down the volume when that happens.
Who can?
Oh, Rayford's good at muting mics. No, don't worry.
What do you mean?
Well, no, I can't, but you can, Rayford. You can turn down the volume.
Oh, absolutely.
So no, yeah, it'd be fun to come into the studio one day, and I know my friend Chris Marks really enjoys it, and he's a radio guy, and I know he appreciates the opportunity to come on and talk about the Reach for Life, but also being able to just continue to serve the community like you guys do. So it'd definitely be a fun opportunity.
Yeah,
and
we'll bring them both in. I'll take the couch.
It would be fun just to have you in here to
it would be great.
there's so much more in addition to the stuff that we see on TV, the stuff that we even read in the newspaper. There's so much more behind the scenes, even just with sports. But you're such a well-rounded individual. You have a lot of knowledge from a lot of areas.
Justin, hey, you can ask him a question.
What?
Something happened in 2019, and he can tell you if it was sports.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and we maybe bring in Mike McHugh as well, because when you talk about a wealth of knowledge, I mean, Mike McHugh can remember.
Yeah, I can
remember what happened. This criminal case back in 2014.
Yes.
Yeah,
who the
yes.
DA was, and he can remember all that stuff. So bring in Mike McHugh. That's you're just looking for some trouble. If you get me, Chris Marks, and Mike McHugh there, man,
I just sit back and watch and listen.
Some trouble.
We're going to work on that then.
I think it'd be great.
Oh, that would be a great day.
You can call us the Three Stooges.
There you go.
No, I would never do that.
Well, then, in a good way. I like the Three Stooges.
You can do the 3 M's, McHugh, Marks, and Miller.
Oh, there you go. That works too.
God,
M and
that's
M.
great. The 3 M's.
Yeah.
We should have a regular segment like once every so often with
Lord,
that.
that would be great. Chris, thank you, sir.
Bye, Chris.
All right, thank you, my friend.
Take care. It's Chris Miller,
He's a mess.
sports editor with the Jacksonville Daily News.
He loves pasta.
Oh, he loves everything. He loves everything. He's talking about baseball bats, and y'all guys were alluding to the fact that they're weapons and all sorts of stuff like that.
No, I know what you were
you
getting
were.
at.
Yeah, you
No. But
Yeah,
you know
that's
what?
right.
There's nothing like sitting there watching a game.
Mhm.
Then all of a sudden somebody gets into a little dust up and everybody stands up and is pointing and everybody has their opinion. It just gets everybody all revved up.
Mhm. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
As long as nobody gets hurt.
There was a audio. Oh shoot! Audio of a robbery. I think it was in Oklahoma, years and years ago, where the store clerk, the guy came in to rob the store clerk, and you could just picture a good old Oklahoma boy. You know the sound that
Right.
his voice, the way they could talk. There's no video; it's just audio. Well, he's got a baseball bat, and he gives the guy a lesson. And you hear the ping. I told you to don't get up. Ping. Stay down there now, son. The police are called. Just stay down there. Ping. He hits him in the head with a baseball bat every time he moves. He tries to get up. Pop.
What?
And that sound of that baseball bat, I got to find that again. It was a ping.
Oh
And
my gosh.
it rattled. I've got that audio somewhere. Well, again, one of these computers, there's 74 of them that I've got. That's probably one of the dozen back there that don't use anymore.
Amazon's got a real good deal on a Dell right now. It was like $3,100. They have it on sale for $900. You might want to take a look.
That's a deal.
It's a deal.
If it
And
really was.
it's a Dell deal.
If it really, if it
I don't
really
I'm not a fan
was.
of Dell, but still.
Yeah.
If it really was $3,100.
No, really. I mean,
Well, that's their
I
story.
read the RAM and all that other stuff. It was,
Well, what kind of RAM did it have?
I can't give you the specifics right
Then
now.
how do
I
you
have to
know
go
it's a
back
good
and
one?
look it back up. But I was like, gee, I would love to have that, but do I need it? No.
I needed it. I can afford it.
Yeah.
Okay, what else we got cooking around here?
Well, I've got a pair of patriotic bills intended to encourage American unity under consideration in the North Carolina General Assembly.
Patriotic
I'm gonna-
bills.
yeah, I'm going to tell you about these two, and then I'm going to turn it over to Kelly because she got some good stories.
Yeah, then we'll do weather.
You want to do it
No,
first?
go ahead.
Okay. The Depoliticized Government Property Act, HB 244, introduces measures to restrict non-official flags from being displayed on government property. The purpose is to maintain a neutral stance on government grounds by allowing only official flags, such as the United States flag and the North Carolina state flag, and municipal flags to be flown at government buildings, which I think is good
I'm all
because
for that.
government needs to serve equally,
Mhm.
and they
Can't
should
we fly
remain
this?
neutral.
Why not?
We can fly it here.
I think we ought to
No,
fly
now
it to
look,
City
no.
Hall.
No.
Okay, but the Democrats are raising concerns over the First Amendment and government representations suggesting potential lawsuits could come over free speech.
I am so sick of this nonsense.
Yeah,
Okay.
Representative Pricey Harrison, Democrat of Guilford County, asked if she would be in violation of the law by displaying trans, pride, and Ukrainian flags.
Yes.
But, however, there is a difference between private speech and government.
Correct, lady.
And then again, if you want to express your personal views on anything, you can fly it. You should not be able to fly it on a place that's owned by the people.
Correct.
Here is HB 186. Okay. The Stars and Stripes Commitment Act also passed the House committee, and mandates that all schools in North Carolina incorporate daily recitations of the Pledge of Allegiance and ensure the prominent display of both the United States and North Carolina flags in the school.
I think that's a good thing too.
Okay.
This is our country.
I don't disagree with you, but I ask a question. We have people who, let's go to D.C. We have families there from other parts of the world, right? Who are there as part, with the husband or the wife as part of a foreign delegation. And they live in Washington. They may be with whatever, and they're representing another country. And they enroll their kids in school here in the United States for a year or 2 years or whatever. Should they have to stand and say, pledge allegiance to the flag?
And then it goes into that. Democrats raised concerns about the inclusion of under God and accommodations for non-religious students. Biggs said the policy doesn't require an individual to recite the Pledge of Allegiance if they choose not to participate.
Okay.
So there you go.
Okay, got it. Well, because I'm certain if my dad had been one of those and we were going to be assigned to live in Russia for 2 years,
Right.
to represent, and he's there, a government official, and I go to a public school. Military families, for instance, you were in where? Japan?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Where do the kids go to school? Public school?
Well, my kids didn't live there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, they would go on base till the military has a.
Not always.
There's also not always, because Robin when Robin grew up in Japan, when his dad was there, Robin went to
public
Zama
school?
American High School, but
That's cool.
it's not, yeah.
Uh-huh.
So
for him to stand up and pledge allegiance to
they still pledged to the flag.
of the United States.
Yeah.
We did at school.
We did.
Well, we
Let me
did
tell
too.
you something. You take a bunch of kids now and you ask them to recite
They can't
the
do it.
pledge.
No.
They cannot do it. When I was growing up, you had to recite it. But this is your country.
Yes,
This
it
is what I would love to get a room full of Democrats to explain to me why they are so anti. If you
America?
don't like it so much,
leave.
why don't you just go somewhere that you think you will like? And if you ask them where they would go, they can't answer you. You can't,
Well, first of all of those who promised to leave because Trump was elected haven't.
No, well, Rosie O'Donnell did, but they don't even like her in Ireland. They hate her over there. I hear that on a daily basis. They hate her there.
See, next time Kelly goes to Ireland and sitting at a bar and there's Rosie.
I know where. I
When
actually
you
know
do
where
that,
she's
just
living.
give us a call.
She's gross. But, and these Democrat lawmakers, for example, you got elected. Did you get elected because you wanted to be important? Or did you get elected to actually serve the people of your country? Because, once again, our flag, and I'm using a flag as an example, is our nation's flag, the symbol of this country. Other countries have their own flags. Okay, they don't have as much controversy there as we do about ours. What is the problem? For somebody, if you're a Democrat and listening, seriously, call in and explain. I want the mindset explained to me because I truly don't get it. So educate me. What is the anti-flag, anti-Pledge of Allegiance deal? Because I truly do want to know.
Well,
What
that's
is
the
the
whole thing with
deal?
Antifa.
Well, the whole purpose of these two proposals is to reassert traditional symbols of patriotism back into public spaces at the state and federal
And
levels.
then we should get back to the traditions of
Yes.
reading, writing, and arithmetic.
Oh yeah, I'm
We
I'm
need to
all
be able to
there
do
with
that, and I don't think that they can do that either.
I'm gonna have to show you. I'm gonna look it up and we'll show you. Amazon sells these flags, but I don't know if you watched any of the protests and the riots in LA and some other places. And there was a lot of people with the Mexican flag, and then there was people with the United States flag, but flying it upside down. Well, then I saw a lot of people that had flags that were at a slant, divided at a slant, not half and half, with the USA flag and the Mexican flag sewn
That's
into it.
desecration.
And I'm just like going, what in the world? And guess what? I found them on Amazon.
Mhm.
We can find anything on Amazon.
You mean
But
that
like-
all-American company called Amazon?
Well, hey, your kitchen right now is full of Amazon. So
I
My
know
house
it.
is always full of Amazon. You see the empty boxes in my
he was
garage.
telling me
I'm
about
saying.
all the stuff he
Love me
had.
some Amazon.
Offshore at $20 miles today. Southwesterly winds 15 to 25 knots, east 4 to 5 feet. They're 5 seconds apart. It gets sloppy out there today, folks. Friday looking a little bit better. Southwesterly winds 10 to 15, seas 3 to 5 every 6 seconds. So they're 6 seconds apart tomorrow, so that's better. Sounds and rivers a moderate chop, a chance of showers with a slight chance of thunderstorms tomorrow. You'll not have good visibility at sea level when the sky and the water look the same color, grayish looking. That's why the visibility, you don't know where you are. Saturday, this is likely to be a good day. Check back with us in the morning. We'll tell you for sure. Easterly winds 5 to 10 knots, seas 2 to 3 feet every 5 seconds. Sounds and rivers a light chop.
Today, sunny, high of 93. Our heat index value will be as high as 102. Stay in if you can. It's humid out there. It's 84% right now, but it feels like a million. Tonight, 70% chance of showers and thunderstorms, really mostly overnight, partly cloudy otherwise, a low of 72. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, high of 89. Tomorrow night, mostly clear, low of 69. That's a lot better than it was last night.
Mm-hmm.
And then on Saturday, sunny, high of 92, which is much better than a heat index of 102. I'm just saying. Now, maybe that heat index will creep back up, but right now it's not listed.
Yeah, I'm going to show Rayford a picture of this flag.
Okay. Why are
But
you
you
doing
can-
that?
Yeah, I just answered somebody on
Oh, yeah,
YouTube.
because somebody on YouTube made a comment that
Yuck.
you're cool with Trump flags and Confederate flags.
And I responded, we've not even talked about that this
Not,
morning.
First of all,
not on a
So-
public building, not on
Yeah.
a government building.
That's
No,
right.
well, I
not.
don't even, own a Trump flag.
I don't either.
Don't own
I
a
don't
Confederate
either.
flag. I've never liked the
No,
Confederate
I
flag.
don't
I just
either.
don't. It's not my thing. Whatever. And I've gotten a lot of flack for saying that before. Don't really care. Once again, my preference.
It's you. It's
But-
your choice. To
Yeah,
have or
maybe
not
you'll
to
be
have.
next
It's
on
your
the
call.
new party page. I
Um,
know I was on there last week.
I saw that.
What's a new party?
Lee was so I was
Somebody
I'm gonna
has
address that. I
started-
actually sent it to Lee. Got sent to me.
Somebody started another Onslow County Republican Party page, and it's by somebody that was elected to a position here in Onslow County, which I find is a huge conflict to be doing this. Well, back about, was it 3 years ago? Old story.
Mhm,
When I was first vice chair of 3rd Congressional District,
mhm.
during a political season, I had put some campaign signs up in my yard. I wasn't running for office. I was completely legal doing it.
Mhm.
Somebody took pictures of it
Mhm.
and then sent it to that ragweed, the Daily Haymaker. It's a rag paper in North Carolina. And they printed a big story on it. And then they said that I had to resign in shame and all this other kind of fallacy. Oh, yeah.
That's
I'm
not. That's not true.
It's not true. It's not true. I did resign later on, but I resigned to step down to go help a very good friend of mine
on their campaign.
run a state campaign,
Correct.
run for a
Okay.
state office.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I did. I felt like I was doing more by working grassroots level than going to a meeting once a month and just sitting there and doing nothing. Though I loved my people at the 3rd District, good people. But even the 3rd district chairman said you can put anything you want to in your yard. You have the right to do it. And nobody ever questioned me, were they actually really my signs?
I thought one of your signs got stolen out of your yard one time.
I don't remember. But, so anyway, this person who works for the, how was it? Well, anyway, so he reran that story on his page recently. And like Kelly's like, man,
I saw that got sent to me by somebody.
I was like, whatever with it. It doesn't even bother me. It doesn't even bother me.
It's first of all,
you know what? You've got to run for office again.
He's ignorant anyway. So. But all right.
Yes.
Yesterday, Trump installed 2 new flags, 88 feet. I don't know how high that is, but it sounds high to me.
88 feet?
Yeah. How tall would that be?
It's a little over twice the height of most utility poles.
Okay. Oh, that is pretty tall then. I don't know what DC's requirement, but I guess the White House can do what it wants. I don't know.
Pretty much.
Okay. He did, I think the way it seemed one in front, one in back, which I'm cool with, flying a flag.
That'd be great. I could put a dipole antenna. But
yeah. All I could think of was Camping World flag. Like that's what I'm visualizing. I just don't know.
But it is 88 feet tall.
Yes.
Okay.
The poles are 88 foot tall. I don't know how big the flags are.
The tallest pine tree back here, that's going to be about the height of it.
Oh, sweet. Okay. Then I know how. Oh, wow. That is very tall.
Yeah.
Okay. Impressive. But some people got all bent out of shape about it. I'm like, it's the White House, for crying out loud. I don't care.
What kind of flag is he flying there?
The American flag.
What's the problem?
That's what I don't care. If Biden had done it, if Obama, if
I would
George
support
Bush,
every one of them.
All of them. I'd be all about it. Like, it's one, it's the White House.
Right.
2, I don't understand why people got all bent out of shape. Yeah. And they did. I saw it last night on the news.
Well, I don't think they've ever had a lawn flag, have they? It's always been the one on top of the building. One on the top,
yeah.
The only
so he put like one in the front, one in the back. I think it's like I said.
I hope that they
North lawn and one on the south lawn.
I really seriously hope that the administration had a chat with the folks over there at a thing called HMX-1. That's the Marine helicopter that flies into the White House.
I hope they did. I didn't even think about that.
I do for one particular reason. Generally speaking, that would not be a problem. But they may. If I was in charge of it, I'd say, you know what, just for.
It's big. It is a big flag.
It's a camping world flag.
But the whole thing is, if it is a
Kelly, they got that flag at camping world.
They went in camping world. So here, let me let you have one. Yeah,
as long as it's not made in China.
No, do you honestly think they're going to put one up that are made in China?
I would. Well, I don't. Nothing surprises me. But
this administration would not. They will check it for the label.
But I think it's cool. We fly a flag.
I got no problem with it.
A U.S. flag on the White House.
The White House itself is tall.
But I agree with you about the helicopter and think about that.
But you need to worry about where it is in proximity to that landing pad.
It just says one on the north lawn, one on the south lawn.
I don't know.
I don't know where the landing pad is. Yeah, I have no idea.
I hope the one on the south side is a little bit taller.
They're both 88 feet, and they had a ceremony yesterday.
I'd cut top off of the one.
Come sheer through.
Yeah. Top. No,
he
just
bought that flag himself, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. He paid for it himself. Both of them. Both poles.
So were the poles were not there?
No. He put them up. Had them.
I don't think there's ever been one on the grounds.
He had them installed.
I know there's a big flag, or not a big flag, but there is a normal size flag on the top.
Right. Yeah, I see. That's always been there, but there's never been one on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm like, go with it.
He put one on each north and south end. Mm-hmm. Yeah, matching.
Pretty cool.
I think it's
one thing. No issue with it. One thing about Trump is he's extremely patriotic. Extremely.
Yeah.
He loves his country.
From all outward appearances, he does.
What's that supposed to mean?
I think he does.
I know there are a lot of people that say the same thing, and they're scammers. Right. When they have to preach holiness and preach the patriotism all the time, and that's all they do. They wear the flag, they wear this, they do that, and and they kind of force it upon you. Then I get a little bit concerned about them being hypocritical, Because
I understand that.
you got to
I
go
agree
look,
with that.
you got to go look at the rest of what they do
Mhm.
on
Yeah.
a daily basis.
Hmm.
How do you live your life? That's the way you look at that.
I don't think I own any flag attire. Sitting here trying to think.
I have.
I don't think I have anything with the
some
flag
that I
on
used to wear when I went to the conventions, but like a big long shawl
At
that.
one time, it was illegal
My mom
Oh,
to
sure.
do that.
always told me it was disrespectful to wear the flag.
But mine,
I don't know
It
what that
was
means,
actually
but-
illegal.
Yeah.
I know that, but
Oh,
mine
really?
is not the flag itself. Mine is just different representations.
I understand.
But
of
I
the
mean,
flag,
I'm
but
talking like
I
red,
don't
white,
wear
blue.
it much at all.
I don't have anything flag
And
attire.
it took a while. And when it started changing, police officers wanted to have a patch,
Right.
the U.S. flag,
Mhm.
put on their uniforms.
Yeah.
And at one time, they had to go through to make sure that it could be done legally, and it had to get a ruling on it.
They do wear that, don't
They
they?
do now.
I thought so.
They did
I'm
not
trying to
before.
Wow.
think. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
All right. So yesterday also, well, a couple of it's been busy. Karen Reed got found not guilty.
no kidding.
I know. That's actually good news. I don't
No,
think she did
she's
it.
guilty.
She
She
is
got away
not.
with it.
Don't
No, I
start
do.
with me.
Rafe, you stop.
I have watched every day trial
Yeah.
one.
She was
Trial
arrested. She was
two.
guilty.
I don't make you just because you're
No.
arrested does not make you guilty.
And just because you've been charged with something does
Nope.
not mean you did it.
Mm-mm.
There was so much reasonable doubt. It was a very bad investigation. In fact, there was no investigation.
Solo cup thing alone. I mean,
It was a Massachusetts state trooper that was sitting down to investigate it. And with hours of getting there without even going to the scene, he just went ahead and said, yeah, she's guilty. And then got caught texting a bunch of his buds that night,
yep.
calling her the C word, talking about her health, and said, oh, she's going down. And this was on the lawn of another police officer. And when one of the buddies said, what about the one that owns the house? Oh, don't worry about him. He's a Boston cop who never came out that morning. And there's ambulance traffic and police cars
Now
all
she
over.
ran over her boyfriend, the police officer,
She
right?
did not run him over. They proved it
They proved that didn't happen.
scientifically
Yeah.
that it never happened.
But then they talked about they got rid of because he apparently got bit by an animal, a dog.
The
They got rid of the
homeowner-
dog.
The homeowner is Brian Albert, who was a Boston cop. That's where the drinking party was. She did not stay. She alleges she let her boyfriend out of the car. She went home, which it shows her going home, and et cetera, et cetera. So all the scientific evidence on your phones, on your health watches, on your vehicle data, everything proved that it could not have happened. And there's a whole bunch of stuff that came into it, like when his body was discovered and then taken to the hospital, the scene was never secured. No one ever stayed at the scene. They came back later in the day with a leaf blower blowing snow around and didn't find anything but the blood splatters. And they took samples of that and put it in red Solo cups into a stop and shop garbage bag.
Yep.
And took it to the police station
Love this.
and put it in a locker that was unguarded, and it was never
But
signed
the
in.
air's going to contaminate the blood.
Yes.
Right, right there alone.
Not only that, but the cop whose house this happened at, they never went into the house or even knocked on the door to say, are you okay? Is everything okay in here? We just found a dead police officer on your lawn. Are you okay? Never happened. The police officer never came out to
But
render
they
assistance.
changed up the carpet. They all threw their cell phones away. And that came up in court. All of them. That
Right
wasn't at
before
that
they were
party.
due to be turned in, they all rehomed their cell phones.
Yeah.
A couple days after this happened, they rehomed their German Shepherd.
And they ripped the carpet up.
And then they did a fast short sale, sold the house, moved elsewhere.
Mm-hmm. Come on
And
now.
then the people that were involved in this little group, it shows that there was 30, 40 butt dial calls all night through the night when this happened. And they all claimed, oh, it must have been a butt dial. I didn't call. I didn't speak to this person. And they all got together the next morning and got their story together. And they all told the same story.
What did they have against her?
It was
A lot of them didn't like her, but I'm beginning to think some of them didn't like him as well. And the best part of all to me was that Google search or whatever.
one of the women that were involved in
How
this,
long
she
does
was
the
kind
body
of the ring.
stay alive in the cold?
How's long to die in the cold?
Yeah, that's what it was. How long does it take a body to die in the
And
cold?
she spelled
Yeah.
how wrong. It was HOS, but that was done at 2:27. Karen
That's
Reed left there at 12:30 and went home, and it shows on Ring video and on the Wi-Fi where she connected and was at home.
So
Anyway.
why wasn't?
Jen McCabe
Uh-huh.
had texts, how's long to die in the code at 2:27. Well, the prosecution had an expert come in and said, well, no, not really, because when you open your Google tab, like I'm going to open my Google
Open mine
tag right now,
Okay.
and it's just a matter until you close that, it's going to show the last time that you did Google something. So no, but yet it was the only thing she had deleted the record show on her phone. She had deleted that search. But when they run your phone records, it shows everything that you've ever done on that phone. Remember that. If you tweet something ugly, like if I tweet something ugly to you,
I know I've saved the ball.
and like I'm threatened to kill you, but I go delete it from my phone, it'll still show when they run all the things on it. But this whole thing,
Don't use your phone.
evidence started showing up days
Ham
and
radio.
days, weeks later in the yard. Somebody would drive by, say, oh, there's a piece of tail light, let me get it. But it was always this one officer that found it that would bring it in. John's clothes the morning that he was in the hospital, the trooper took these clothes, threw them in the back of his patrol car, and they sat there for over 2 weeks. And suddenly, when they were turned over to the medical examiner, they found tiny little shards of glass in there from her taillight. Oh, yeah? 47 pieces of her taillight it ends up being scattered all over the yard, which science has proved it couldn't have happened. Plus, they did all these tests. See, the FBI got involved in this quietly. And they hired a company out of California called ARCA to do tests and to reconstruct it. When they got the results of the tests showing it was impossible for it to have happened, they sent that information to the defense and the prosecution on the first trial. And of course, they had it for the second trial. But the defense was not allowed to say this was an FBI involved investigation. They were not allowed to mention the FBI whatsoever. So anyway, it is just like the Prostitute State had no evidence whatsoever to tie her. It was just a situation where
It was a frame job.
we
so it
think
was.
something happened. There was one guy that was at that residence named Brian Higgins. He had the hots for Karen and him, and had a little flirtatious thing earlier, that a couple weeks prior to that. She ghosted him after that. So the night that they were all at the different bars, Brian was making these gestures at John like, come on, let's go outside. And so what people think, which
She's
there's no
on
way to
a
prove
first
it.
name basis, by the way, folks, with all these people.
Hey, I have
She
invested.
has lived her life
I
on
know
this
that.
case.
I have watched every minute of this trial.
She has.
You can see it in reruns too.
She kept me.
And then at nighttime, I watch all the different podcasters and all the different attorneys who got on there saying this is an injustice. It should have never gone.
I agree. I mean,
But you want to talk about yesterday? There was over 1,000 people in the streets supporting her. And when inside the courtroom and they announced the not guilty verdicts, you could not even hear inside the courtroom from the screams out in the streets.
I watched it last night.
Wasn't that
You
amazing?
can. She's not wrong. But it was so loud in the courtroom from people in the street cheering, throwing pink confetti, all kinds of stuff.
I will admit, I've sent money. They've had a lot of fundraisers for her to help pay, because right now her attorney bills are over $5 million.
Holy
And
cow.
people, these
I mean, a lot of
podcasters,
work.
these groups have been doing fundraising for her to help her pay, because she had to quit her job. She had to sell her house.
She
to
was
go
like
towards.
a professor or something.
Yeah, she was a professor at university at nighttime and then worked as a financial consultant during the day.
Yeah.
But she's getting ready to be very rich.
Yeah, because a movie's coming out.
Nope.
It's
She's getting ready to be very rich because she's writing a book. She has been writing a book for the last 2 years.
I don't blame her.
Here is how I did it and got away with it.
I don't think so. I don't. She didn't do it. Rafe, you need to stop.
If you had, I
Wouldn't that
know.
be funny?
No, but
No, I know
there
it's
is a
I'm being
movie. It was
disappointed.
announced yesterday already. There's a movie coming out, in which I can't wait.
The
Which
Karen Reed story, right?
I'm glad
That's what
for
it's
it
gonna
because it's
be
going to help pay
Yeah.
for those attorneys. But
They need
did
to.
you see that one attorney break down and just start sobbing?
Yeah.
When they announced not guilty. I mean, they have put so
God,
much
she's
into
going to come
this.
after me next.
No, she didn't do it. Now let's go to San Diego.
Go with it, girl.
Good old Border Patrol. I mean, y'all know I love them. They found a 3,000-foot tunnel
Yeah.
between San Diego, which it linked Tijuana and San Diego. It was actually found in April, and it was still being worked on. Not,
Wasn't
and
completed.
it ran under, what is hilarious, the Otay Mesa port of entry, which I have used many a time when I
The
lived in
tunnel
San
or
Diego.
the entry?
The tunnel ran under the actual entry.
I was wondering which one you
even
were using.
hilarious. Oh yeah, no, I didn't use a tunnel. And it was projected because it wasn't completed. It was going to either exit near or actually inside a warehouse space in San Diego.
Ooh.
And it even had like a little tracks it had ventilation,
No.
had
Wow.
cameras, it had lights, had tracks, and they already knew it
It's
was
a bomb bunker.
it was for
You know what I'd be
That's right.
doing?
transporting.
You do know what I would be doing if I was on the San Diego
Yeah,
end, right?
They were,
Mhm.
yeah.
How close to the Pacific Ocean is that?
It's right on the Pacific
That's
Ocean.
what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
Here's
Yeah.
a big old piece
Digging
of
every night.
No, here's a pipe coming out of the
Yep.
way.
That's what
They're
I
going
mean.
to put one of those big old 4-foot, 48-inch water pipe
Mhm.
and just pipe it in from the
Put it in
Pacific.
there.
And as soon as my sources on the other end say it's full,
Mhm.
we're going to clean the tunnel out.
Mhm.
I mean, it says
salt
on
water.
here too, since 93, so 30, 2 years now, more than 95 tunnels have been
Yeah.
decommissioned in the San Diego area since that time. And I lived in San Diego from 94 to 96.
First of all, I would not be wanting on the West Coast,
Mhm.
I would not want to go through a tunnel on the West Coast
Mm-mm.
because those things called earthquakes happen
Earthquakes.
without notice.
But see, these drug dealers, because they use I mean, this was just a drug tunnel. But
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
I mean, they don't care. They're just trying to get their product. You know what
yeah,
I'm
I
saying?
know,
Like,
but
they
you don't lose
care.
a lot of it if you get,
I agree, but I guess they felt
collapses
like
during a drug run.
maybe with the little train tracking things they had going on, it was going to speed up the chances. I don't know. I mean, you get earthquakes in San Diego. I've been through 2 of them there. So
no,
you're like, no, I wouldn't.
I wouldn't walk through one of them.
But I'm glad that they shut that down. So now they got to start over somewhere. I mean, and they always have a backup
There are
plan.
others on. in progress.
absolutely.
They're already done.
I wonder how they found it. I'd love to. They're not saying.
Well,
Yeah.
what they need to do is just use a lot of tanks,
Yeah,
driving all up and down the whole area,
yeah,
along the entire border.
Yeah.
They should just be running those big old tanks every day. Can you imagine that?
Well, also use the
Either that or bring the ospreys that we've got out here,
Okay.
let them fly real low.
That's some more
boot
reports.
camps right there. The Marine Corps boot camp, San Diego's
Right.
right there by the airport.
Yeah.
Let them get them in some boot camp training. Let them go do something with that. You know what I mean? Go ahead and start training now. I mean,
Of course.
heck yeah, might as well use them. They're right
Mhm.
there. That's what I suggest. Just saying.
I got to ask you a weather question real quick, Rayford,
It's
because
nice
I got
out there
thinking
right now.
about this.
Windy.
Hurricane Eric, that's due to
It
hit
came,
Mexico.
it came ashore this morning.
Oh,
It's got
did?
it low.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. Thank you.
125-mile-an-hour winds.
Thank you. Well, what I want to know is now, see, it's part of the National Hurricane Central Pacific Center.
Correct.
So it's not, we're the Atlantic.
Yeah.
This is, but if
Can it
it
cross?
crosses
I'm
Mexico
looking now.
and goes up
There
into
it
the
is.
Gulf,
Yeah.
now
Generally,
it's become ours.
generally it will deform or
Right.
degrade itself, come across Mexico as a system of
Like a
just
low
like
pressure or
coming
something
off
right.
of Africa.
Tropical system.
And then it can reform, and then it's going to be renamed.
But what
I
happens?
think it will be renamed.
But well, it's got to,
would it
because
be?
it becomes an Atlantic basin hurricane then.
Yeah,
but-
I don't.
Oh yeah, we got to start with A. We don't have any storms yet, so whatever.
That's
A
right.
is.
So
What's A?
I mean,
don't
has
know.
there ever been a history of one in the
I'm sure
Pacific?
there has.
crossing over still as a tropical
I don't.
Yes.
with
I
a
don't-
name
I don't know that it's had
and
a
become
name.
Atlantic?
I don't know that there's
I-
been one that had a name.
Yes, I
that
thought a
is-
couple of years ago. Yeah.
But it was still a tropical storm. It would have to be a tropical storm to have a name
Yes,
Hold
that's what I'm saying. So what if Eric comes off the coast of Mexico
and stays as
As
a tropical storm. I don't know.
as a category 1 or stays a tropical storm? It still has the name of Eric and goes into the Gulf of
I don't know.
America and strengthens.
I don't know. We'll have to see. I don't think it'll do
This
it.
is a question
very,
for Les.
very few of them. They come across as a low pressure, or once they degrade.
Right. The same way coming off the coast of Africa. But
Yeah. So,
I just wonder, has these
Well,
ever crossed? Go
Yes,
ahead.
since 1851, 21 have crossed from the Atlantic into the Pacific. Yeah, 21 of them.
okay, going into the Pacific is more common.
Yeah.
I know
Okay,
that's
in 1971, Olivia. It was Irene and then went to Olivia.
Oh gosh.
Fifi or Lee, where'd they get these names from? In 1974, Anita in
we
77,
had a bunch of hippies on the
Greta, so they kept Anita, I guess. Greta in 78, Debbie in 88,
remember that.
Joan and Miriam 88, Diana 90, Gert 90. I remember Gert. Caesar and Douglas 96, Dolly 96, Hermione 2010, Otto's 2016, Bonnie in 22, and Julia in 22.
Well, what did they do to like change it from Dolly to Fred?
Well,
Is
they
that a
can do that these-
transgender
they-
hurricane?
they
In
do that these days.
1955, Hurricane Janet. No, wait a minute. Let me go back. Make sure I'm reading this right. Okay. Let me go back to this one. Glenda
Wow.
and Chloe. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got thinking about that this morning when I was watching the Weather
let me
Center and they
see.
were showing, Eric, and I'm like, what? It crosses over
It
and
crossed
crosses
the-
the Gulf.
Eric-
It's ours then.
Made landfall at 7:30 our time this morning.
So
But
now
hey-
we have to change the name if it does.
Yeah. And it hit us at 3. It was a 4, but it hit us,
Mhm.
which a 3 is nothing,
No,
thumb your nose at.
And see, that's what I was talking about because some of the weather forecasters were saying remnants from that are going to enter the Gulf, then come up, and we may be looking at a coastal storm next week
From this?
Yeah.
from Eric. Yes.
Remnants could be anything. It could be just a storm system. It could be rain. It could be a low pressure
True.
system.
True.
Those are what's left over. And there's always remnants of a storm.
True. But they're
And
saying
here's what we have: those things happening every year, or mostly every year.
We do, yes.
When they enter the Caribbean,
Mhm.
cross in, they get into the Gulf, and then they come across Florida,
Right.
and then they cross over into the Atlantic. We've had that a lot.
June 25th.
And sometimes it's just the leftovers. It's not even
Right.
a hurricane or not even a named storm when it becomes
Ooh.
the tropical depression formerly known as
Mhm.
Lee. That's what we need. We need a Lee.
We had Lee last year.
Well, Lee.
It's
L-I-L-I.
I've requested it be retired.
They're going to laugh at you for that.
It's not even a name.
Um,
She got record.
Okay. In 2022, Hurricane Agatha made landfall in the Pacific. And then it went into the Gulf of Mexico. And what did it become? It became Alex.
Okay.
Yeah, that's 2022. And then, but they say it's less common to go from the Pacific to the Atlantic,
Yeah.
more common to go from the Atlantic crossover into the Pacific. Yes.
What on land did
Mhm.
it get
Because it tears it down.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
I mean, just
Mhm.
downsized and went away, basically, just coming across first as a mass.
Mhm.
That's the ones that are kind of easy to rename those.
Well,
I
that's
don't-
why they're
I don't know
talking
otherwise.
about
Whatever. We'll see.
Hurricane Otto was one of the only ones to ever keep its same name. They just kept it. I don't know why. And
Maybe
was
that
Hurricane
year they had
Otto was
on
in
Pacific?
2016, November 2016.
There would be some. You had to
Yeah.
go back and look at all the names and see
And maybe
if
the
maybe Otto
Anita.
was in both places.
Yeah, maybe the Anita didn't change because it was
It
on
just
both
was
lists.
yeah.
Oh, that's
Wonder how they pick the names. They just all sit in a room and they just say, let's throw out some names for this year. Do they draw them out of a hat?
They have a
Everybody
dra-
writes what they want and
They
they pick
go
them?
to Dublin and they have a party at a pub.
They do not do
They
it
have
that
a
way.
pub party and they
Thank
name
you.
the storms.
They
Yes, they do. It's
Ireland
official.
names their storms too. When they hit, like storms like that.
I bet they got really cool Irish names too. don't they?
Sometimes they have regular names. Sometimes I think some of them are dumb, but I
Let's see
think
if
some of
there's
our
a
names are
story
dumb.
behind it.
So, yeah.
You know,
Interesting.
they have a list and they go through it in alphabetical order.
But how do they
So
pick 'em?
where do we get the list
We
from?
need to get like the Atlantic hurricane. But I legitimately want to know how do they pick the name, because some of the names they come up with I think are just dumb. They could have done a better job. So
Yeah.
I just want to know: do they all sit in a room, drink coffee or drink liquor or drink whatever?
yes.
Mountain
Do
Dew.
they all say, "Okay, Rayford, you write 5 names down. Kelly, you write 5 names down. Lee, you write 5 names down." Because they got to cover. Well, they got to do 26.
I'm gonna make
so you
sure
have
they're the
whole
worst
alphabet.
names to
No,
spell
they
and
won't have
say.
26.
Oh, yeah, more because you got the Greek alphabet.
Well,
after that,
they won't
yeah.
even have 26 of the regular alphabet.
And
Okay.
then they say, okay, this either vote on them, like you're doing a betting thing, or do they pour them in a fishbowl and you pull a name out? Like
Well, this is
curious.
not much better answering the question, but it says the names given to hurricanes are pretty much already set. There are 6 alphabetical list of names for Atlantic hurricanes maintained by the World Meteorological Organization.
The weather group.
And the weather people, and they are rotated through every 6
But
years.
But they're
How
not
did
the
they
same list. They take different names from the list because they don't have the exact
But how
same
did they
list.
make that list? Is what
I
I
don't
want to
Oh,
know.
I want to know
I want
too.
to know, like, how did you
We
get
have
that
questions.
list?
Well, we can put a call into the National Hurricane Center if you want to.
Yes, we should
yeah,
do that.
I really do want to know, like, what made you pick these names?
I anoint you, Lady Lee, to
Really, you
go ahead.
call them and
To go ahead and send an email to the public information officer at the National Hurricane Center that we would like to talk with whoever on the air one morning about how the names or hurricanes are picked.
Yeah, I can do that.
So
Do you
you
know
can do
why?
that.
Do you know why hurricanes have names? So they can keep track of the storms. This is a wealth of information here.
What?
Yeah, they name hurricanes so
They
they
used
can
to-
keep track of them.
They started naming them in the late 30s, I think, because I remember the hurricane of 1935. I've been reading about it, but and then there were hurricanes that were not named. I think still during World War II, the early stages.
Mhm.
When was
Here's
when did they adopt the first names? That'll be a question for you.
1953.
That was
The
the first
National
name
Hurricane
storm.
Center originated the name list in 1953. Only women's names
Yeah,
were used until
you know why,
1979.
don't you?
I don't even want a
'Cause
response
I
from
can tell you
on
why.
hateful.
Have you ever heard of a hurricane? They were always hurricanes.
oh my, y'all save us from these god awful jokes. He
That
does.
wasn't a joke. That was a fact.
That
Jack.
was God, Rayford. People
Wow.
just don't know.
Says the 6 current lists have been in rotation since 1979, with some names occasionally being retired and replaced. Well, I
There's
have
only
no,
one
yeah.
Hazel.
Right,
And
that
Andrew,
was
it
retired.
Andrew retired?
Andrew was retired.
Charlie was
Yeah.
retired. That's the one that hit Texas that caused all that mass flooding.
Uh,
I imagine
the,
Helene will be retired.
What is the
the
one?
one in
New Orleans.
Nolans.
Yeah, that was
K-
Katrina.
Katrina. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that bee needs to go.
Yeah. I'm betting
Most
Florence
definitely.
wasn't Florence retired.
should have been.
Yeah.
Yes, I think so. I think you're right.
Yeah, I think the
Kelly.
ones that end up being really, really bad. I mean, they're all bad, but you know what I'm saying, like triply bad.
Yeah, we got good.
Oh,
yeah,
they've
we
got
better
the
hurricanes.
whole list of rotating names here. Wow.
But I want
Through 2029. I'm gonna see when Kelly ever pops up here.
there because I'm good.
I've
never been
not
on that.
How about
2026.
is there a Glenn on there?
2027? No.
Let's see if
there's a
Rayford.
No 28.
There is a Lee.
Again?
You
2029.
2029, you'll be back on there.
Oh, that's no problem. I'll be gone by then. I can't believe
Okay,
Isaac.
tomorrow is Friday. The official beginning of the weekend.
Raphael. Yes, it
Nothing
is.
going on. Tomorrow, I'm going to show y'all something when we get off the air.
Oh,
A
my.
story I just saw. I didn't see it till it just
Oh.
popped up. Talk about Tom Tillis.
Oh, we need to talk about Congressman Tim Moore, too. Maybe we'll get that
Tom
tomorrow.
Tillis is not a happy guy.
Mm.
He's mad that Padilla got wrestled to the floor and that when
Really?
they tried to interrupt. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mad as heck
well,
about
okay.
Why?
it. He says it was inappropriate.
Why?
Who his
Why?
paper was, but he said it was disgusting the way they. He said people knew he was a U.S. senator,
They did not.
and they said according to Tillis, they should have treated him with respect and allowed him to disperse.
Well,
They
I
got
should
it.
have heard of this guy.
Fact, when he busted in a room and started
yes,
yelling.
I agree.
I disagree with all that.
I agree,
so.
Tom Tillis. We disagree with you on that one.
Senator,
Sorry,
yeah.
buddy.
Well, you probably don't want to talk to us.
Mm-mm.
Okay, we will be back in here again tomorrow morning and love to talk. And I'm kind of looking forward to somebody calling in this morning, telling us what your weekend plans are. How about any special vacations you got coming up? Would love to hear about those. What? Yeah, talk to us. I know you guys are making plans to do this or that.
4th of July's a week after next.
Yeah.
Goodness
It is.
gracious, you are so right.
Yeah, it's on, and it's on Friday.
A sign on the fence post out there to your left, Lee. You just.
I
barely-
say, hey,
Cardinal.
Dad.
Yeah, they come back here all the time.
Cardinal. Yeah. 4th of July
They're looking
is.
for their buddy over here.
You know, after I got all the
2
trees
weeks from
cleared out
tomorrow.
of my yard, a cardinal came and sat on the fence and saying, "See, I told you it'd be okay."
Oh, that's
It was
good.
Dad.
Well, was it a bright red cardinal or one of those faded reds?
It was
the
bright red.
Bright red, that's the male.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
but
the male.
Kelly was saying, 4th of July, what? It's
Week
on a
after
Friday?
it's on Friday. It's Friday the 4th, the week after next.
Oh, goody.
Sure is.
Oh, that's going to be a weekend.
Yeah.
You're live and local real talk. Where we're sometimes awake. We're never woke, but we are occasionally awake.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, I'm going to go make a sandwich and go take a nap.
Sounds like a plan.
See y'all tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. Have a great rest of your day and be
At
safe.
7 o'clock.
Did I say 7
You
o'clock?
said 9.
Well, it'd be